Richie Z, and welcome to another episode of Automotive Heaven, Chicago history and automotive heaven. Today we're going to do a little show about the Chicago Auto Show. We've got some other topics we're going to deal with too. Talking about auto shows and cars and all of that. We're going to do a little segment on appraisals of automobiles and why it's important to get one. And I got an appraiser that's been around for a long time, put it that way. And we're going to tell you a little bit about Ron and his company of appraising things and why it's important to get an appraisal. But also, I think we're going to take the show out with a segment on Claremont Auto Museum. It's the largest auto museum in the city of Chicago. It's on the northwest side around Belmont and Cicero. It's on Knox Street. I'm going to give you a little insight into that museum. You know, all these things that I'm talking about, in fact, the Claremont Museum, there's 2 television shows that I shot there a number of years ago. It's really something to see. So go to richiez.com and go into the automotive, go on the toolbar, click on video, and a menu will drop down. You'll see Automotive Heaven, and then you'll see another menu, Chicago History and Richie's Tips. It's in Automotive Heaven. 2 really cool shows. In fact, you should go out and take a look at it. But let's get started with the auto show in Chicago. You know, this year, for a lot of reasons, with everything that's transpired with this virus and everything else, it's really something about the auto show. Detroit opted out of having an auto show early, like they always have one around January. But I think because of weather conditions, they changed their mind. They wanted to move it down a little bit so they wouldn't be caught in that snow and cold and all that other stuff. By doing so, they didn't have an auto show this year. Chicago has been doing auto shows since 1901. Folks, I am prejudiced. I believe in Chicago. I love Chicago. But the Chicago Auto Show is something magical. It's special. You know, I remember going to auto shows when I was very, very young. I had the bug. I got bit by the bug, the car bug, very, very young. And I remember going to an auto show at the amphitheater on South Halsted Street. But then they, I want to say they rebuilt the McCormick Place on the lakefront, McCormick Place East building, which burnt down in 1967. And I remember going to that place for the auto show also. So, man, it's just really, really something. The auto show has always had something for everybody. You know, they have family vehicles. When I was growing up, they had luxury cars, and I always had that bike of the luxury. I loved the luxury cars, the boats, the sleds, the cruisers. I mean, those were the cars that I really liked. I owned a number of Cadillacs, but I was a real big Buick fan. I had Rivieras, I had Electras, LeSabres. But during that time growing up, it was an interesting time because muscle cars hit the market when I was very, very young. And they went from the early 60s, I'd say 62, 63. It started to get solid, and it went through like 1970. You know, going around to the auto shows and all of that, it's just really a cool, if you're a car person, you don't even have to be a car person though. If you're looking to buy a car, or you just want to get up on the latest in the car trends and styles and all of that, auto show is a perfect place to go. I've been promoting and supporting them for, you know, all the 30 years I've been involved in the television and radio media. But let me give you some tips. This is what I always do. Now you're seeing some pictures of cars. I went around the auto show, and I got some pictures of cool cars and some of the, you know, I'm from the old school, the old models that have been around forever. You know, they put people around the cars, and what's really cool now is they're putting gentlemen and women, gentlemen and ladies. And it gives the opportunity to have someone you feel comfortable or want to talk to, about the vehicles. But like I always do in these shows and in these segments I've done for many, many years, let me give you some tips on buying a vehicle. Number one, find something that turns you on. Today, with the power of the internet, you can go on and you can look at every model and style of cars that are available out there. So it gives you a good start of where to go, what turns you on. You want a car, I say this all the time, you want a car that's sexy, that turns you on. If you buy a car that you really love and you think it's cool and sexy and everything else, you're going to take care of it. But the cool part about what I'm saying is when you get up in the morning, when you go out to go to work or wherever you're doing or take a trip, you buy a car that you really like, puts a smile on your face. What a wonderful way to start out the day, getting into a vehicle that you like. So number one, I'd like to say going online is a good start, give you an idea of what to look for and what you really want out of a car. I wrote down a number of things, but I think step number two, after you see what you like, go to the dealerships, look around, pick out one that you like. But look for style, look for the way they drive. See if the dealership will let you take one home for the afternoon. And, see if you really, some dealerships are even doing it now where they'll even let you take it overnight. Some are. And if they're not, rent-a-cars are really inexpensive nowadays. So you can actually, if you really like that car, I advise people to go out and rent one, use it for the weekend, take a trip, and it doesn't have to be to another state or anything, but you can, Illinois, we have so many wonderful places to go see in that, and museums in Springfield and Starved Rock, and oh my gosh, I could just keep going on and on and on. But take that car, take the family out, make it a day trip. Man, we've gotten away from any of that type of stuff now. Another thing that I say, man, I'm looking around for a vehicle now because of my tours. Tour Chicago with Richie Z. We're going to be starting that up real soon too. But we're doing private tours. We're stepping it down to maybe 2 people, 4 people. I'm looking for a vehicle. Maybe I'll be able to put 6 people. So 2 or 4 or 6 of your family friends, get together. It's a lot safer. We'll all wear masks, I'm sure. But it's a lot safer than getting on a bus with 30 people, 50 people, So we're going to be doing that. But I'm looking around on the internet for a few vehicles. I got one 100% in mind that I want to buy. And by looking at the used vehicles online, man, I'm finding a lot of colors that really turn me on. I never would imagine that color would, it would appeal to me. So color is very important also. If you're buying new, that's where you want to go. But I believe, I love the bells and whistles, they call it. And that's, all the options. I like that, man. I like the sunroof. In fact, the vehicle I'm looking at is an SUV, and it actually has 3 sunroofs in it. So it has 2 in the back and then 1 up front. And, with the tours, doing night tours and stuff like that, people will be able to look at the skyline of Chicago. So bells and whistles are very important to me, and that's what I mean by bells and whistles is it's got all the options. It's got power everything. It's got the backup camera. It's got, I want a tow package because if I ever want to get my bike up on a trailer and maybe travel down to Florida for Daytona or whatever, I could be able to do that in comfort and style and enjoy the bike week down in Florida or wherever. Now, engine and performance mean a lot to a lot of people. If you're just a regular, guy, I mean, probably the basics will be fine. Not even probably. These vehicles nowadays, man, they go from 0 to 60 almost immediately. It's just really amazing what they've done with 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder vehicles. But think about that because it's important. Gas mileage, performance, what you're looking for in a vehicle. Again, I like something with a little more oomph to it. It's a little more. If I put my foot in the pedal, it goes. So I might go with the 6-cylinder, but they got EcoBoost now. They got all kinds of things with the vehicles. So check into what they have and see what you want in a vehicle, what you would like to have. Again, falls back to what I say. Enjoy the vehicle. Fall in love with it.
Chicago History Tours with Richie Z, from 2 people up to 50 people. Join in a Chicago tour you'll never forget. Chicago is our inspiration. Mag Mile, State Street, Museum Campus, Water Tower, historic Chicago churches, Hancock and Sears Tower. Stunning architecture. Richie Z, historian, tour guide, and storyteller. Book Richie Z at 312-841-2560. Go to our website, our podcast site, www.richiezie.com. See Chicago with Richie Z on a tour you'll never forget. That podcast site again with over 100 radio shows is RICHIEZIE.com.
And then a big factor is check on the gas mileage. You know, the Chicago Auto Show, like I say, have been around since 1901. It started in 1901. It was at the Coliseum on Wabash Street. It was like 250,000 square feet. And from the beginning of the auto industry, Chicago was a key player in making the automobile industry a hit nationwide. Chicago, and there's still a lot of buildings on the south side on Michigan Avenue, from about 1400 south to about, I think 20 some odd hundred south. It was called Motor Row in the beginning of the 1900s. There ended up, by I think 1904, being 119 automobile dealerships and repair facilities and parts sales in that area on Michigan Avenue, down all the side street, and on Illinois Street. Now, Chicago became the historic birthplace of the sales of automobiles. Now, one of the reasons why they settled there and this all became what it became was Chicago was the Industrial Revolution at the time. So there was a lot of money here. A lot of people would buy these things. But see, Prairie Avenue District was there. And that's where the very elite lived in Chicago in the 1800s, early 1900s. Prairie Avenue is about, I think, 3 blocks east of Michigan Avenue. And they had all their mansions up and down there. So that whole area, instead of being cobblestone or even dirt roads, it was all paved with concrete. So when you went to look at one of these Henry Ford's Tin Lizzie, they called it originally, they took you out on the street in it. You pulled up with your horse and buggy, which was a bumpy ride and everything else. They got you into one of these automobiles, and you rode down the street. It was fantastic. The first Model T off the assembly line was sold to a dentist in Chicago. With a little bit of history about the Chicago Auto Show and the Chicago auto industry, I'm Richie Z, and stay tuned because we got a lot more coming with appraisals of a vehicle. You know, I really want to get into this segment for a lot of reasons. You know, when I was on radio, I used to do these things all the time to help you to prevent you from getting ripped off, from paying money that wasn't worth paying for a vehicle. Having a vehicle appraised before you buy it is a very intelligent thing to do. I have heard every story in the book about people buying a vehicle that was a pig in a poke, a bagel, a lemon, on and on. I had the body shop in Franklin Park for 15 years called Auto Magic, and people would buy cars and then they'd bring them by me. If you were a customer of mine, I used to tell you, bring the car over before you buy it. Let me take a good look at it, and I'll give you, an idea if it's a good car or not. Well, a lot of people didn't do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about appraisals by Ron. Now, Ron is a friend of mine. I've known him for a number of years, but he's a certified appraiser. He's involved with the IAAA. He does appraisals on cars, automobiles, trucks, and he's heavily involved in toys. Toys are big now. Toys, model cars, and all of that. Now, Ron has been a resident of Batavia all his life. He's been involved with so many things in Batavia. I'm just building a credibility of a person you want to deal with versus just picking someone you don't know. But Ron has been involved with his church groups, car shows, parades, Boy Scouts, selling Girl Scout cookies, youth baseball, and so much more. They have a brotherhood in his church of people in Batavia. They're all Christians, and it's really cool. But let's talk a little bit about Ron in the very beginning, because this is really, really cool. I ask this all the time when we're talking to people, especially car people. And I asked Ron just recently, we were talking, I says, when did you get the bug? When did the automobile bite you? And he goes, well, at a very young age. He thinks he was around maybe 7, but he thinks for sure 8 years old when he got the bite and the love of the automobile industry. Now, I ask everybody because it's really, really cool, and I don't want to know why, but what was the first car you really fell in love with in, that era? So when he was around 9 or 10 years old, he fell in love with the 49 to 51 Merc. If anybody knows what they look like, they really are. Really are something. But back then, again, 50s, 60s, 70s, when you saw a car coming down, you knew it was a Merc. You knew it was a Buick. You knew it was a Chevy. You knew it was a Ford, a Cadillac, a Lincoln. You knew what it was, an Oldsmobile. You didn't have to, today, you don't know if it's a Mercedes or if it's a Hyundai. But back then, boy, we got turned on by vehicles because of that. So Ron got turned on by the vehicle. So now, let's talk about appraisals. Let's talk about why. The why, again, is to prevent you from getting ripped off. But even more than that, I think you're better off getting an appraisal because you know now what the vehicle is really worth. It may sway you from buying or not buying the vehicle. Real important what it's worth. Man, condition is so important, man. Throughout the years in the body shop and this and that, we could bondo up things and put a coat of paint on them and sand them and buff them out. Man, we'll make them look better than they looked when they came out of the factory. But what's underneath that paint and that bondo is real important. Especially older cars. We live in the Midwest. We have a history of rust. And the older cars had a history of rusting if they weren't in a humidor, basically, or in a garage that was heated and temperature controlled. So it's real important. I can tell you stories that would make the hair stand up on your arms. I mean, the back of your neck. I mean, I remember a guy buying a Chevelle back years ago, and He took it down the street from where I had my body shop to Gary's Wheel Alignment. Gary called me and told me to come down and take a look. The frame was completely rotted out. It was a Chevelle with a big block in it, but the frame was shot, and you couldn't even cut a piece and put it in. You had to find another frame. So that guy paid a premium for that car. So real important. So many of the people, they buy cars that are not worth the money. Don't make that mistake. We're going to give you all the information on Ron. Appraisals by Ron. I'll give you his phone number. It's 630-879-7393. It's a certified appraisal of automobiles. As I promised early in the show, I said we're going to do a segment on the Claremont Collection. Claremont Auto Collection. It's the largest museum, auto museum. Well, they got autos, they got a lot of things here, but the largest auto museum in the city of Chicago. They're located at, let me see if I can find it here now. Oh, here we are. 3117 North Knox Street, Chicago. Their important phone number is 773-685-1904. Now, Knox Street is about, I'd say, about 3-4 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. And if you can only go south. If you make a turn going south on Knox Street, it's right there. You'll be able to see it right there. In excess of 300 vehicles on display. This, like I say, I did a TV show there a number of years ago. We did 2 shows on the Claremont Collection. Hopefully we'll come back there and we'll do some specialty things. Maybe we'll just do, I don't know, like we're doing these segments now. Maybe we'll do like a 10 or 15 minute segment at the most. I don't even want to go 15. But, boy, there's something there for everyone to see. I don't care if you're 8 or 80. Man, it is something. They have a plane hanging from the ceiling. I like this collection a lot, and I try to drive people there is because usually you'll find museums where a person has a love of a certain vehicle. They love Ford Thunderbirds, Galaxy, whatever, okay? And believe me, folks, they're all great. I love them all. But some of these places, you know, it just gets kind of like, another Ford. This place here, this Claremont Collection, they have, every time you turn the corner, it's like, ooh, wow, check this out. I haven't seen one of these in ages, you know, that type of collection. The memorabilia on the walls, the gas pumps, the displays, the floor, the epoxy, the neon lights, and on and on and on, models and pedal cars and Vespas, and I'm just going off the top of my head, folks, but all those things that are a train collection, a big, huge train display up on the second floor. Mini cars, are a room full of mini cars, mini trucks, and all of that. It's really, really something to see. And I like that, like I say, because, man, you turn the corner, oh, look at the old muscle car. Oh, my God, look at this luxury car. Look at, oh, wow, a race car. And on and on and on. So this is a great museum. Hopefully you'll check it out. It's the Claremont Collection. You know what? Let me spell that for you, because if you go to the website, you're never going to find it. It's K-L-A-I-R-M-O-N-T KOLLECTIONS.com. ClaremontCollections.com. Over 300 vehicles on display, and like I say, something for everyone. You know, we're coming to the end of this segment we're doing on the auto show, appraisals, and the Claremont Collection. I'm Richie Z. I hope you're enjoying the programming we're putting together. We're getting into a few more churches right now. In fact, we're going to go shoot one tomorrow. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but that might be coming up in the next few weeks also. And whenever they open up the city, folks, I'm ready to start doing tours again. So we'll take out 2 people. We'll take out 4. If I get that vehicle I'm talking about, we'll even have 6 people. So I'm Richie Z for Automotive Heaven. Thank you for watching.
Go to Richie Z, 312-841-2560. Check out our website at richieze.com. RICHIEZIE.com. Go fund me at Richie Z. It's very important that we get funding for programming like this.